Salutations, my fellow dudes and dudettes, and welcome back to Tales of Phantasia. Last time, we've established that we've been sent back into the past because of Tornix D. Morrison, and we've recruited a new member in the form of Clarth F. Lester. He's not much but a book slapper, at least until after we're done this dungeon. So, here we go into the Long Valley. Now, this dungeon is actually one of the more annoying dungeons for this early on in the game, mainly because of its gimmick. The last dungeon, the Mausoleum, was only annoying because of how long it was and the amount of backtracking I had to do. This dungeon is just full of a couple gimmicks that can just kind of annoy you. First off, we got a new enemy, Harpies. They're kind of like the Falcons and Ospreys, but they're a lot more relentless, and they do a decent amount more damage. If they will constantly like charge at you, and we got a tech known as Lightning Bolt. But yeah, the Harpies are very annoying. They're going to be the most common enemy you encounter here. Slap that Lightning Bolt on. That's actually going to be your greatest weapon against those things. So yeah. Oh, also, speaking of which, for the first gimmick, we got our boss fight, like, right now. We're gonna be fighting these guys a couple times, but, for starters, the blue, cloaked, or, like, the teal cloaked Sylphs are weak to the Thunderbolt. You will immediately knock them out. Now, the Sylphs themselves, they use a lot of tier 1 magic spells, which we unfortunately don't have access to, like magic in general. But you just gotta prepare. You just gotta be careful with them. They could be a tad annoying. Their magic doesn't deal a lot of damage, but again, the Lightning Bolt makes quick work of them, or at least the teal cloaked ones. The ones in the back that I fought are actually immune to the Lightning Bolt. In fact, I think it heals them. It's Shoki, sickness caused by overexposure or whatever. Shoki, so the Sylphs have lost their minds? What is Shoki? It's the air from the realm of magic. This mountain must connect to that realm. Somehow, a rift must have opened between the two. The air is seeping out of those rifts, and the Sylphs are breathing it in. Humans can survive for a while, but magic-based beings cannot if they are acclimated to it. Then they'll end up like the others? Then let's fix the rifts! Let's keep an eye out for holes in the ground. Agreed. I'm sorry if I was struggling to read that text. From where I'm sitting right now, the text is a little bit small. Or like from where I'm sitting, not standing. But anyway, yeah. Just take care of the Shoki, the Shoki. The Sylphs cloaked in teal with the Lightning Bolt, and just like use your melee attacks against the red-haired ones. They're not really difficult at all. Also, those cyclones you noticed, that is another huge gimmick in this dungeon. As a matter of fact, well, okay, not necessarily huge, but it's one of those things where you can't exactly get past without actually taking damage. They get completely wiped out once you finish the dungeon. Also, this is the reason why we brought the rope and pickaxe. The pickaxe was used to enter the dungeon via that pile of stone we encountered at the beginning. And the rope allows us to get down through these areas. Now with the gas, they're just like the zombies and the ghouls. Except with these ones, they're a bit faster on their feet. They will actually charge towards you, which could be a bit annoying. So, that's like the main draw of these enemies compared to their counterparts, is that they're faster. But that's about it. Anyway, as I was saying, the rope is used to just, create those pathways. And before you ask, assuming you ask, do I need to buy multiple ropes and pickaxes? No, they're infinite the second you buy them. For some odd reason, all you buying one rope and one pickaxe in this game allows infinite uses. So don't assume that you need multiple ropes and pickaxes to get through this game. As a matter of fact, after this dungeon, we don't use the ropes or the pickaxes for quite a long time, actually. I don't exactly remember when the next time we use it at, but again, it's not for a long time. So I don't think anything's stopping you from selling them to the shop, but they sell for, like, zilch. Like, not very much at all. If any at all. I don't recall if they sell for anything, because you only pay like 50 gald for them. So they'll probably like sell back for like 5 or 10, if anything. Also, the other thing is that I neglected to mention this earlier after the fight was done. When you take out the Sylphs, they will give you rune bottles. Keep in mind they don't infinitely respond, so you can't like manipulate that. Anyways, the other gimmick with this dungeon is that, while the Sylphs are active, they will constantly blow wind. Meaning you can't go in the direction that they are. Like, you can't get to the opposite side of them by trying to go against the wind. The wind will be too strong. In order to stop the wind entirely, you have to take out those, Sylphs. So, yeah. That's the other gimmick. The big gimmick, though, is here. This is the Shoki that was mentioned earlier. The problem with the Shoki is that as you're constantly walking through it, you're constantly taking damage. So make sure before you walk into this dungeon, you have plenty of health reserves, because otherwise you will be dying a lot. And that's not necessarily saying that the Shoki will kill you. It will just bring you down to 1 HP. That's the lowest it'll bring you down, but since all the characters are at 1 HP, you are very vulnerable to dying. And that could be a problem for some people, especially newcomers, because this game is not very easy. We've had a decent time up to this point, but the real difficulty is from the bosses we fight later. As a matter of fact, like, the next boss besides Sylph is probably one of my most hated bosses in this game, just because of how much the boss is able to do at this early in the game. But more on that later. Now, this cave in particular, same gimmick. It's just that it's larger and there's 2 rocks in order to push. And since I'm on that subject, I didn't get to explain that either. I'm really bad with that. But anyways, in order to stop the Shoki from, like, appearing at all, you have to push these stones that you find throughout the dungeon into these little holes full of, like, steamy water, I guess. That's probably the source of the Shoki. It's in a liquid form for some reason. Anyway, the issue with this area, it's not that big of an issue, but if you're a little on the reckless side, like I am in one of the next coming battles, as a matter of fact, I probably skipped out on it. Yeah, I think it was right there, actually. The enemy you just noticed earlier is called the Hell Lord. You can't fight this thing at all. You do no damage to it, and it instantly kills you. And what I mean by that, instantly kills you, it does a fuck ton of damage this early on in the game. I'm pretty sure we fight these guys later on and are more than capable of being able to deal with them at that point. But right now, they can one-hit shot us because of how weak we are this early in the game. So fighting them is like, it's a no-no. It's not happening. So when you see the Hell Lords, and now it's time to actually explain the another RPG mechanic, running away. In order to run away from a battle, you'll press the L button, or whatever you have it assigned to, I guess. When you're running away, your character class will start running to the left side of the battlefield, and you'll see this gauge slowly fill up. Once it fills up all the way, you have successfully escaped from the battle. The problem with this is, if you do take any damage at all while trying to escape, it will completely reset that gauge, and you'll have to restart the process again. Now, thankfully with the Hell Lord, since of how impossible it is to fight it, in fact it is completely impossible, you don't do any damage at all. As a matter of fact, I think if you go out of your way to grind all the way to a certain point where you should be able to take it on no problem. I'm not sure why you'd be willing to spend all that time, because it'll take an eternity. This game still like designates it as an unbeatable enemy. But yeah, once the gauge fills up, you escape successfully. This could also be a problem if your party members are getting in the way, and that has happened to me a couple times. Like, I'm trying to run away from battle, or enemies more specifically. Like, you're trying to escape, but there's an enemy blocking the escape route. I'm getting into my Pokemon vibes now. But there is an escape. The enemies can block your escape route, and you're gonna have to take it out. And yeah, it's actually really annoying. You're not gonna really have to run away from a lot of battles unless if you're just like sick of the random encounter rate, because it's complete bullshit in this game. Oh, another room bottle, cool. Well, the downside with all these awesome room bottles that we don't have anything to use it on right now. Bartodas, they would all be at the summit of the bridge. I'm sorry, I didn't get to read that because I was explaining something. But that's it. Once you seal up the caves, the Sylphs are done. They all disappear. Well, all the ones you weren't able to actually fight, and we have access to that item over there. I believe it was a charm bottle, which is great because it drops items by 30%. If I didn't mention his last part, I might as well say it now. I don't use the charm bottle for a long time until we get to I believe it's Midgard, and even then, we can't buy anything there immediately once we get there. More on that later. You are the ones who sealed the rifts, aren't you? Yes. In return, I'd like a contract with you. I will grant you a contract, but there's something you should be aware of. Oh, what's that? Even if we make a contract, it will be void soon enough. I'm afraid I don't follow. Magic is being consumed faster than it can be replenished lately. Soon, the magical spirits and their powers will vanish from this world forever. But why? If you visit the Tree of Life on the southern tip of the continent, then you may be able to save the magic before it's too late. Take this, the elemental. I understand. I will do my best, but there's one more thing. Have you seen a young woman in the mountains lately? You're the first people to reach the summit of the mountains in a while. I see. Well, I will grant you a contract. I really gotta make sure this text is actually readable, because I guess I've been, like, speeding through it all a bit too fast during the game recording. Especially concerning the fact I recorded the footage for this part, like, a while ago. But anyway, we have the ability to summon Sylph now. Finally, Clorth is not completely useless. We're not going to be... I don't think I show off what Sylph is able to do in this, the rest of this part. As a matter of fact, yeah, after you acquire Sylph as a summon spirit, I don't think there are any more encounters for the dungeon. I think they all just sort of disappear. When you leave the dungeon and come back, I think they do respawn, but there's really no reason to come back here. Unless if there is something you might have overlooked, an item you might have missed, so... yeah, otherwise, don't come back. There's nothing else here. But anyway, we got Sylph, so woo! We'll be showing what Sylph is able to do next part. It's not that exciting compared to the Game Boy Advance version. You did it. The windows returned to normal. Yes, and what of my daughter? Sadly, the Sylphs have seen no sign of your daughter. I see. Oh, where could she be? Arch. Please don't worry. We'll keep an eye out for her, okay? Thank you, young lady. Enough. Let's head for the Tree of Life. It's south of Belladum. The forest they're talking about specifically is actually the Treant Forest from the beginning of the game. It's just, it kind of looks different since this is the past. But anyway, I think that ends it off for today. We've acquired Summon Spirit, which we'll be showing off next part. So, next time on Tales of Phantasia, we're going to be heading towards the Forest of Life to see if we can replenish the mana. So until then, I got a juice.